Hello, children. Welcome to the English class. Hope you all are staying safe. Children, in today's class, I'm going to teach you a very interesting story. But before I tell you what the topic is, I want you all to observe the picture and tell me what the picture is all about. So, children, are you all ready? Okay, come on. Children, look at this picture. What is this? Yes, it is a chocolate cake. And next picture. What is this? Yes, it is a ice cream. And what type of ice cream it is? Yes, it is a chocolate ice cream. So children, from this picture, what you comes to know? Yes, it's all about chocolates. How many of you like to eat chocolates? Yes, I know that everyone likes to eat chocolates. Children, have you ever imagined to visit a chocolate room? Yes or no? Okay. Today I will take you to chocolate room through the lesson called the chocolate room. The topic of the lesson is the chocolate room. I repeat, the topic of the lesson is the chocolate room written by Roald Dahl. Children, at the end of the class, you will be able to describe the mood of the character, explain the ideas and present them, explain the sequence of events and ideas, discuss the appropriate phrases, words and sentence. Now let's see about the author. Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl was born in 13th September 1916 and died in 23rd November 1990. He was a Welsh novelist, short story writer and poet. His books have sold more than 250 million copies worldwide. And children, the story of Chocolate Room was an extract from the famous book called Charlie and the Chocolate Room. Now, let's see the important characters of this story. So, the first character is Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka is a chocolatier and owner of the chocolate factory. He is one of the doll's most famous characters. And next, Charlie Bucket. Charlie is the title character and the protagonist of this story. He is very kind and brave boy, but also extremely poor. He lives with his parents and his four bedridden grandparents. Charlie, being poor, doesn't get much food, which makes living near the chocolate factory hard. He loves chocolate very much. And children, remember that Charlie Bucket is the title character and he was the fifth child to find the golden ticket. And he is our hero of this lesson. Okay, children? Okay. So the next character, Violet Beauregarde. Violet is a girl who can never stop chewing gum, and she is the third child to find a golden ticket. And next, Mike TV. Mike is the boy who loves to watch television, and he finds the fourth golden ticket. And next, Veruca Salt. Veruca is the second person to find a golden ticket. And next, Augustus Gloop. Gloop is an incredible greedy boy. Gloop eats an extraordinary amount of chocolate, and he is the first child to find a golden ticket. And next, Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe is Charlie's grandfather. He tells Charlie many stories about Onka's factory. Also, he shares the same love of Onka chocolate that Charlie does. Grandpa Joe is the one who accompanies Charlie to the factory. So, children, that's all about the characters in this lesson. Now, children, I tell you the background of this story, The Chocolate Room. Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Charlie Bucket who was living in a very small house with his parents and four grandparents. And their family was very poor. They are constantly hungry, which is especially hard for Charlie since they live down the street from an enormous chocolate factory and he loves chocolate more than anything else. Every night, Charlie listened to Grandpa Joe's stories about Mr. Willy Wonka. Here, Mr. Willy Wonka was the owner of the chocolate factory and the greatest chocolate maker the world has ever seen. One day, the newspaper reveals that Mr. Wonka has decided to open up his factory to a lucky few. He has hidden 5 golden tickets inside his chocolate bars and shipped them all over the world. And the 5 children who finds the golden tickets will be invited to tour his factory and will receive a lifetime supply of chocolates. Charlie wants to find a ticket so badly, but he only receives a chocolate once a year on his birthday. So he believes that he does not stand a chance. After 2 weeks later, Charlie finds a dollar lying in the street. Children, here dollar means money. So when Charlie finds a dollar lying in the street, he was excited and he used to buy 2 Wonka bars, that is 2 chocolates. He does it because he was very hungry since his father lost his job and has not been bringing much money home for food. And so Charlie went straight to the shop and buy chocolates and found the 5th golden ticket in that. The following days in the factory visit, Charlie chooses to bring Grandpa Joe with him, since it will mean the most to the old man out of everyone in the family. The other 4 children have all brought their parents. Mr. Wonka comes out of the factory to greet them and Charlie was amazed to see him. He takes them to the factory to begin the tour. Okay, children, that's all about the background of the story. And now, children, are you all ready to listen the story? Okay, come on. Mr. Willy Wonka welcomed all the 5 children and their parents to the factory. And then he leads them to the chocolate room and tells them that the chocolate room is very important room in the factory. And he calls it as the nerve center of the whole factory. Before entering the chocolate room, he says to the visitor that he cannot abide ugliness in his factories. Children, here abide means tolerance. I repeat, abide means tolerance. And then he also warns the children not to get overexcited and asks them to keep quiet. Shh. And when Willy Wonka opened the door of chocolate room, the group were amazed to see the beautiful valley with green-filled trees, blossoming subs, and also they were flowing of the brown river, that is chocolate river, in the bottom of the beautiful valley. And children, there was a tremendous waterfall where the chocolate flowing through it. Most impressive is the steep cliff over where the chocolate waterfalls flows and crunching the chocolate in the river. Also, the group were astonished to see the dozen of enormous glass pipes were dangling down into the river. Children, here dangling means hanging loosely, which is from the ceiling to suck up the chocolate and bring it to the other place in the factory. The group could see the chocolate liquid flowing and bubbling along inside the glass pipe. Children, have you ever heard the sound of bubbling sound? Also, they could hear the noise of chocolate waterfall and never ending suckling sounds of working glass pipes. After a time of walking inside the chocolate room, they could see the graceful trees and bushes growing along the river banks. And in the meadow there were thousands of buttercups. Suddenly, Mr. Willy Wonka shouted and pointed his gold-topped can at the great brown river and said, "It's all chocolate. Just look at my pipe. They suck up the chocolate and carry it away to all the other rooms in the factory." The children and their parents were too flabbergasted to speak, and they were amazed to see the great things in chocolate room. Mr. Willy Wonka explained that the waterfall is the most important part of his chocolate making process. He believes that crunching chocolate by waterfall is the only correct way to do the job. Also, he says that no other factory in the world mixes their chocolate by waterfall. And that is what makes his chocolate so delicious. And then he explains that everything around them is edible and composed of finest quality chocolate, including the grass beneath their feet. After hearing this, everyone then samples the grass. Charlie and Grandpa Joe tells each other how wonderful the grass tastes, while Augustus scoops a handful and Violet put a chewing gum behind her ear. Suddenly, Veruca screams and points out a group of tiny little men walking below the waterfall. Everyone else finally sees the little people roaming there. They are confused by the little people and begin chattering among themselves. So children, finally that's how a story comes to end. Okay, children, now let's see the hard words. Abide, which means tolerance. Lose your head, which means lose control. Meadow, which means fields of grass. Dangling, dangling, which means hanging loosely. Hanging loosely. Okay, children, so for today's homework is that you have to write a few lines on your favorite chocolate in your rough note. After finishing the homework, send it through GCR. Okay, children? Okay. And now, children, you should be able to describe the mood of the character, explain the ideas and present them, explain the sequence of events and ideas, discuss the appropriate phrases, words and sentence. Thank you.